Hey everyone, Griff Hamlin here. Welcome. Thanks for joining me. In today's lesson, we're just going to have some fun. We're going to play, I'm going to talk a little bit about how to play The Wind Cries Mary by Jimi Hendrix. There's a couple of really cool ideas in here, and I'm not going to necessarily walk through the entire tune note for note, because that really wouldn't make sense, and you wouldn't really learn anything other than how to play it. I understand there's plenty of places out there if you want to find the tab and play the tune. What I want is for you to understand how it's put together, and that's going to be a lot more useful to you in the long run. So the basic premise of the tune, right off the bat, is a really cool example of what is often called caged chord shapes, but it's basically using two different chord shapes to do the same thing. So if I think about playing an E flat major chord, and that's what I'm doing right now, I'm playing an E flat major chord. So I've got my first finger is here at the E flat on the 5th string, and I'm just playing the regular, well, it's commonly called an A-shaped bar chord, right? And I'm gonna put my first finger down and get one more low string. This is the 5th of the chord, so it's in the chord, but it definitely gives a different sound. There's the A shape or E flat chord. There's E flat with the B flat and the bass. Okay, and now when I do that, I'm not really hitting the 3rd of the chord anymore. I'm really kind of just getting these bottom notes. It's just the lower tones, and I'm just sliding up by 1 fret. So I'm going from E flat to E to F. Okay, that sounds easy enough, right? Well, imagine if I took this E flat, and instead of having my 3rd finger here, I had my 1st finger here. And then I went into what I commonly call a G shape. But if I only played, instead of having my pinky down here at the E flat, my 3rd finger at the G, and barring with my 1st finger, how about if I just have my 1st finger and my 3rd finger, and I just drop the 6th string altogether? Now I'm playing E flat, E, and F in a different chord shape. So I've got this shape, and then this shape. And I do a little hammer-on. And all that is a hammer-on from on the 5th string. So I just let my bar go a little too far, and I hammer on that 3rd finger to the 5th string. Okay, so now remember that I'm in basically a G shape here, which is box 1 for a major sound. Now you might have learned, a lot of people have learned, I'll say box 1, but usually when people learn box 1, they learn it as kind of a minor sound. So if I was going to say, if I said you're going to play an F, box 1, F, most people would think, okay, so that's box 1 starting on an F. But that's a minor sound. If you put your pinky on the F instead of your 1st finger, now you have an F major sound. Okay, so that last shape, you'll see just kind of falls out of there, and this little fill, all I'm doing is I'm plucking the 4th and the 5th string together, and I've lifted up my 3rd finger. Now I put it back. Now I pluck the 3rd and the 4th strings, but I haven't really moved any finger. And then I'm just going to pluck the 3rd and 4th strings again, and this time I'm going to hammer on the 4th string. So you see, I'm not really doing much. It's a very simple idea. And really just by what notes I pick, so there's the 4th and the 5th strings, here's the 3rd and the 4th strings, then I put that 3rd finger down, and I lift it up, then I go back to the 4th and 5th strings. Okay, so then I've got a C chord, just a bar chord. 1 and 2. So I'm striking the 2 lower strings, now down to B flat, then down to F, and then you saw that little. So what I'm doing here is, if you take the F but get rid of the bar, just take the bar and only put it on the top 2 strings, then I can do that little open string pull off. So there's F, there's with the open G string. It only works on an F chord because of that open string. A few times, and then it's going to take just a little small bar-shaped G. So I'm going to strum it 1 and 2, and when I strum there, I put my pinky down on the 6th of the chord, which is the E, the 5th fret on the 2nd string. Slide up 3 frets and do the same thing. So G, B flat, and we're back to this again. Now I've cut it short in a couple of spots. I didn't play it. That C to B flat to F happens 3 or 4 times. All the different moves happen more than I played them, but those are the 3, fundamental ideas that go through that song. If what I just did makes a little bit of sense to you, now if you've never seen any of this before, if you have no idea what I'm talking about, I say an A shape and a G shape and all these different kinds of shapes, this might be a little bit above your level right now, and that's okay. If it is, you can kind of play around with it. I have a course, Caged Unleashed, where I do talk about all these different chord shapes, but caged is a fairly common idea. In these 5 different chord shapes, different major chord shapes. So that's all out there. This is just kind of how I view it. And a lot of times I use stuff like this so that I don't have to, memorize all these notes. It would just be so tedious and so tiring to have to remember all these notes. It's so much easier to just go, oh, well, it's E flat, E, and F in 2 different chord voicings. That just makes a lot of sense to me, and it's just easy for me to remember that. One last kind of thing. I mentioned about playing the F major pentatonic scale earlier. And I said if you put, you take that old box 1 and we put our pinky up there on that F. Well, if I do that, then box 2 also starts here at the F. And the beginning of that solo, the solo to this tune, basically uses that. It goes F, E flat, B flat, and A flat are the chords. And uses the F major. So, I forget if it's just an F and a B flat, just those top 2 strings, or if he does that little hammer on underneath. That little hammer underneath is cool though. What I'm doing is I'm barring the 13th fret on the top 2 strings, which is the F and the 5th of that chord. And then you can do a little hammer onto the 15th fret of the 2nd string if you want. And now, if I'm using thinking box 2, so my middle finger is anchored here at the C, at the 13th fret. My first finger's on the G, which is the 12th fret of the 3rd string. I'm going to add my middle finger to the A at the 14th fret of the 3rd string. Pull it off. Now I'm going to grab that low F with my pinky, or it could be your 3rd finger. But it's at the 15th fret of the 4th string. And then I'm going to strike the 14 and 13 again, 12 and 13 again, but after I strike it, do a quick hammer on. And return. Then I'm going to jump down to box 1 and just walk up the 4th and 3rd strings. So So I do a hammer-on from the 10th to the 12th on the 4th string, 10th to 12th on the 3rd string, and then another quick. So... And that is actually kind of that's sort of the fundamental basis of the entire solo. And if you get to where you can play that, you'll see that he basically plays it again. And then what's interesting about that solo is from there, it goes down to a G chord. And when he goes to a G chord, he goes way up. And it's basically the same idea, just in G major. Then the chord goes to a B flat, and he does something very similar. Then he goes to a C sharp or a D flat, and he does, again, just some sort of C sharp minor or D flat minor pentatonic idea. And then it goes back to F. And again, it's another one of those sort of majory, box 2, box 1 major pentatonic ideas. So again, I realize I'm not giving you the note for note for note for note breakdown of this tune. That's because I want you to kind of learn how to play the tune, your way. Again, this is one of those things where you could easily go out and find the tab to the When Cries Mary. I have it in my library. It's not like you can't find that. That's not going to require you to think, and that's not going to require you to really look at how the song is put together and how you can try to achieve those sounds in a way that you own it. And I think that's fundamentally better for you in the long run. So I've showed you quite a bit about the tune, and you could probably take it from there. So let's call it a day, and I hope you've enjoyed this. I certainly enjoyed putting this together. It's one of my all-time favorite songs. And I always enjoy teaching this lesson to my private students. It's always fun to sort of watch the light bulbs come on. There's just a lot of nice little things in there that you can use in a lot of different places. So I do hope you'll take the time and really work on some of the things that I've talked about today. I know I'm not spoon feeding you the tune, and so a lot of people are going to get turned off by that. And if you're one of those people, and I'm sorry, you're probably not going to dig many of the rest of my videos either. But if you are one of the people who sees the value in that, then I do hope you'll check out some more of my videos. And I look forward to talking to you again real soon. Take care.